Heyo. Welcome to Benchwarmers, a WOSO podcast, episode 38. Contracts, extensions, rumors and retirements. We are going to start with the best moment of my week, the best moment of my life, where we have Bunny Shaw, signing till 2030. My Wednesday went so well. I mean, there's only one way to really start this, and then we can talk about it after. But I have written a song for Bunny Shaw. Obviously, not my first, and definitely will not be my last now after signing till when, Leggy? 2030. So we've made a song, a cover of Bo Burnham, no one else, Bo Burnham. We've called it Bunny 2030. All right, we're gonna go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Last week I was in denial, saying Viv would be enough, but Wednesday made me smile, seeing the best news of the day. Bunny signed till 2030. Lol, Chelsea. 3 back-to-back top scorers. Thank God she's staying in sky blue. Combined Schroeder, Rome, and Tessa, and they won't get near the impact. No way. But Bunny signed till 2030. KANG, Deja, Bunny, Shaw signed to 2030.
I tried to hold it. I couldn't do it. But yeah, she signed till 2030. She is the best striker in the WSL, the second best striker in the world. I hate Manchester City fans online, the post reactions to the Champions League final going like, Bunny is so much better than Bayor. They were trying to compare, they're like, oh, what makes Patry any better than you? I'm like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed to be a City fan. It's actually embarrassing the way that my team talk about my team and glaze my team. Let's do something in Europe first before we even start comparing anyone in any of those teams respectively. But us having Bunny Shaw in the side for this upcoming campaign, post winning the league this weekend, going up into the FA Cup with a just signed Bunny Shaw is probably the worst thing the Brighton would have wanted to see. And I am so there is no, like, I kept saying, like, I want this, I want that. Like, they could have worked, but none of them, like, we cannot replace her. She is a killer. She is guaranteed 20 goals a season in the WSL when fully healthy. Do I think we need cover for her next season? Potentially, and that should be looked at. But she is on a 5-year contract on $1.4 million a year. It's the biggest contract in England. It's the biggest contract in WOSO. I think it's
the biggest contract in WOSO. She's on the most money.
And rightfully fucking so, because she is the most important footballer to her respective team. I think the argument would be Temoir to Kansas. She's probably Russo to Arsenal, but I genuinely think Arsenal could still do it to a level that we cannot do it. Like, City without Bunny is not winning the league, whereas I think you guys without Russo wouldn't win the league either, but you would get a higher point tally. You would get a higher point tally than us without Bunny, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is, the thing I criticized you most about was what was going to happen if you left. If Bunny left, what was going to happen to this squad without such not only a pivotal player, but an incredible talent that if you let go will not only, you will rue the cost in your own respect, but we'll do it against your lot if it's in the WSL.
Going to our rivals. And even Chelsea fans that I know just were like, it never sat right with them. They never thought it was the right move. And I think she knew that. I think they just weren't offering the number that they wanted, and that's why they were flirting with other clubs. That's a very common thing for agents and player agents to do. But I mean, look, I don't know what else there is really more to say about her other than the fact that I have used every single superlative that's ever lived about the Jamaican star. Every time I talk about Bunny on my personal TikTok, I get views and a half. And the fact that Jamaica just turns up for her, like they just absolutely adore her. She is the Jamaican Marta, respectively. She is the taliswoman for this side. She's the taliswoman for Manchester City. We can't do it without her. We can't. Hempo and Bunny is one of the best, if not the best combination in the league. And I think Stanway and Russo will go after that next season. But we all know that no one is doing a WSL predictor and thinking Bunny is not going to win the Golden Boot next year. That's just so common.
And she's inevitable, and she's incredibly strong, not in just the physical nature of her, but in no, it's not even just that, it's the aura in that very, in that very Gen Z lingo. It's like she just has that when she's on the pitch, she's going to score. She frightens defenders in ways we don't see very often from other players.
I'm hoping it transmits to Champions League though.
And well, it has in the past. She has done it in the Champions League. Again, it's about the backup, because we know what Bunny can offer. It kind of felt like it was a re-signing just because of how it kind of felt like she was signing a new signing because of how much it had been ramped up and the feel of it all. Even I felt it. But to me, it's how do you further facilitate Bunny? Bunny has changed her game in the respect that I haven't given her, in the fact that I've always seen her as a pretty two-dimensional player. And then this season, AJ has really shaped her into also a pseudo 10, and not in the same way Russo is, but in facilitating as much as scoring. And I think that if you add that dimension and you just push it and that you propel that in the Champions League, she'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, you're right about especially AJ giving her the mental toughness. I think there was a lot of times, especially in the last season before we had the podcast, you kept saying when Bunny doesn't deliver, it's so obvious she's the worst player in the park. But now just this mental toughness to her game that she doesn't need to be on from minute one. She needs to be on at the end of games. That LCL game that we had no right to win is Bunny not giving up. The game against Chelsea is Bunny not giving up. The games that in this season kept us at the top of the table from round 5 onwards, the game against your lot where she was on from minute 1, but then you guys clawed yourself back into it with Chloe Kelly, is us getting the space with Iman Bene, and who made that space? Bunny Shaw not giving up. A player that even though she'll be on 1.4 mil, she could sit back and not play to the level she just did. You could argue she could do the Salah thing and she's played for her contract. Now she doesn't have to do it. I can tell you, every City fan, AJ Eglerts, even he said post the win, he spoke to what's her name? Oh my god, that's so embarrassing.
Farrah Williams.
No,
I'm
not
trying to go through all the names.
No,
Alex Scott, Farrah Williams.
No, my brain's off. I'm not going to get it right now. But it's a moment for Yeglerts to reflect on what next season he thought it was going to be ultimately, and I think that the way in which they set up for next season was purely based on a bunnyless world, right? It was based on the ability for us to be able to set up a new structure, a new platform, despite the fact we have European football. But how are we going to do that? Who was going to mount the goals that were going to change the fact that we were losing 20 goals a season, right? And that I didn't think that there was a player who could fit the mold, could potentially do the things that were being offered in that way. But I think that it's exciting to think that it is that new signing. It is like a revitalized, redone Bunny. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the conversation Yeglerts was talking about was when he was winning. He was talking about winning the Premier League. It was with Steph Horton, I think it was, with when he said that this season was hard, but next season will be so much harder. And it is a little bit easier with Bunny, a marginal easement, but it doesn't mean that the more games that we have, the more effort we have, will make this season incredibly difficult.
And it also goes to show that in a footballing world that is so now dominated by how much will a club put down, how much will an investor invest in a player, there are still players who are loyal. The best player in the WSL, arguably, and the player who is most significant to the club basically put down a deal to go to perpetual champions in Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
She
Or
decided
anyone else. She could have gone anywhere else as well.
And she chose to stay at City, and that just goes to
that's
show
right,
something.
Farah. That's right, Farah. Oh, she should stick or twist. Remember that earlier on in the season? Oh, she should go and leave and go to Chelsea and win some trophies. I am predicting we might win more trophies than you next year, because who's your striker? That's what I think. Who's your striker? Because Schroeder hasn't been wrapped up yet, and Schroeder is also a child, and Schroeder is also going to take time to develop. So who's your answer? Is it Myra Ramirez, who's been flirting with Real Madrid since I've been born, or is it Aggie Beaver-Jones, who clearly Sonia doesn't really trust anyway, because she started the season so well last year and didn't really deliver in that way? So they've got to go after someone at least. But
even so,
can't go after Alexia because it's a direct rival, right?
But even so, like, I mean, one of the things that I always thought was, what is the appeal of Manchester City? Why aren't they keeping their best players? And why is it that they can't really build a foundation of legacy players in the same
cultural element, sadly.
And maybe, yes, I would.
Now we've changed that culture.
And I think that you've changed that culture. And I think that this is starting with the re-signing
this
of
season. Bunny. Yeah, but it started with the re-signing of Bunny, but it's been cemented by the fact that we've won the league and we're after more than one trophy. This is the nuts. Like we've got the flop. We've dealt the amazing hand. We've had the amazing hand, and now this is just bonus, right? If we have 3 aces in my hand, I'm probably going to win the hand. But if we're going to get that extra ace, which is the FA Cup, then it's no longer stick or twist. I'll go somewhere else to win trophies. You're winning the trophies here, and we deserve it. And it's not just that one era, the 2015 to 17 era of our football, where Tony Duggan and everyone and Co and
Ellen
Nikita
White.
Paris was running the show. Ellen White, 100%. That crew of players, Steph Horton as well, as we mentioned, are all a part of that legacy. We're starting a new legacy, and shout out to Viv as well. And I mean, the way it was announced was amazing. But a player that hasn't been announced just yet, has been announced her retirement and had a incredible. I mean, that is just the level of video you want to see when you're watching someone retire. I mean, this is as a let it all work out level. Exactly. You know, I was gonna say this is but this isn't like you can hear him crying in Turin. No, it's you can hear him crying all around the world, because Lorena is leaving, and not to a direct rival of Barcelona. Cry for Manchester City, Arsenal, Lyon, and any team that actually matters in WOSO from a semblance of trophy accumulation in Europe. And it also just feels like match fixing. It also just feels like, I can't go to a team that might affect my former love. Like, that's so cruel. But yeah, she's leaving after 16 years, or however long she's
14 years,
14 years. I mean, plus the youth career as well. So it is 15 with the youth career as well in 2000. What was it? 2012, I believe it was. But she is. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about how important LEXI is to Barcelona. All the moments, all the magic. Yes, you can have people who complain about her results, her historical numbers in finals for Spain. And look, I think her Spain career is probably her downfall in the GOAT status. Like, I don't think her Spain performances have been particularly magnificent. Even in the World Cup they won, she was injured. She was coming off the bench. She didn't really do the amazing things that Bonmati did, or Paruello did, or Pina did. And even in the Euros, this Euros was the first time where Alexia was turning up for Spain in that way, in my opinion. But who knows what the future is? I think it's probably LCL, sadly. I really hope it's the NWSL. I really hope the hip surgery happens.
Is that the first time that you've hoped a player go to the NWSL?
Yep, because the alternative is so grim. I don't want to have to go to Bromley to watch my GOAT. I don't want to have to go to Bromley to watch my GOAT. That being said, do I want to go to America to watch my GOAT? Yeah, exactly. Not really either. But I am more likely to go to watch my GOAT at Bromley. That's more likely, but I don't want to see that. I don't want to see I mean, again, the whole thing with LCL being a product of being able to sign whatever they want, whoever they want, means that Alexia is on the table. But if anyone can even match their level, unless they get rid of the high impact player stuff in the NWSL, they'll have no way to bring in a player that has the caliber of LEXI, not even LEXI, who is there are no players to her caliber. So it is offering like 3 million over a respective probably 2 years. I would say we'd be looking, if Bunny is 1.4, we'd be looking at 1.5 plus.
So I have something to say about this particularly, and I had to write it down because I have a lot of thoughts on this, but it's really in reaction to what you and many people are saying about what happens when a great really lets you down on a personal level, lets you down when it comes to moving to a team that you don't necessarily think aligns with either that player's football or even the morality that they may have exposed to. I feel like the whole world has moved from collective shock to collective psychosis. I feel like we're talking like this is a genuine regicide, like the Queen is actually dead. Alexia is not dead. She's just moving clubs. It's something I've mentioned before, but the way we apothesize figures in football is completely devoid of the reality that players move on, older players especially move on.
True.
Alexia is not retiring. We don't have to put out our thoughts and prayers. She's leaving the club she served for 14 years. To treat this farewell as a casualty rather than a real part of football is once again turning football into a parasocial exercise of loyalty and faithfulness. I feel like I'm seeing more of an outward expression of loss rather than a celebration of a book not finished, but a chapter closed. Denying the history of this player, denying her agency, the economic reality that Barca are currently in, and the mentality of a professional athlete who, in her own words, is looking for a new challenge, is actively rewriting her story. To be honest, most people grieving are not even Barcelona fans. I would have sympathy like I do about my fellow Arsenal fans when we lost Viv, to genuine fans of Barcelona, not only losing an important and special talent, but their captain. However, even then, I think the best thing to do is to remember rather than lament. But because some louder voices in women's football have a tendency to follow players rather than clubs, we are seeing people moralize the transfer rather than respect the wishes of the athlete or, more importantly, the person. If we want this game to grow, we need to be ready to face some uncomfortable truths. Your favorite players are going to leave your favorite clubs. There will be shock moves and sad moments, but it is all for the benefit and development of the game. Alexia is not one piece. Alexia is just one piece in an ever-growing tapestry of Barcelona. There may not be another Alexia, but because of her legacy, there will be a better Barcelona. And I think that's all we can hope for in the leaving of Barcelona and the starting of a new journey for her.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very well said. I still disagree with it.
Fair enough.
But no, I agree with what you're saying in the sense of like that it shouldn't be a bad thing. Yeah, it's like smile because it happened. I agree. It's she is not Messi, and Messi is not her. But what they represent to Barcelona respectively is just as important. The feelings we'll have in 10 years' time where people still talk about like Messi in the Blau and the Grana, like it's imperative. It's a time that was greater, right? We're complaining about the end of an era of a player that we still think could, like, I don't know. The whole direct rival thing is weird because the whole point of that is that she is good enough to do it, and the lamenting isn't at her. At least personally, I don't think. I think people who are lamenting at her is a disgrace. But if you're lamenting at Laporta or Barcelona, who can't afford to keep their best players purely on a financial stake, I mean, I think you have every right to, and especially as a fan. Not necessarily like me, myself. I love Barcelona growing up. I wouldn't consider myself a cooler in any way, but I am disappointed that if not push comes to shove, but if the ideal world we live in where teams are sustainable entities and products, they keep their players forever. I'm watching the trauma and laugh at the Chelsea fans who watched Fran Kirby at the end of this year absolutely terrorize team after team after team. What kind of feeling is that, other than the fact that, like, yes, teams move on and teams progress, but I just think there is so much to gain by giving players their respective send-off and retirement in the club that they need to be, because ultimately, Alexia looking for a new challenge, that's great. What is the new challenge at at LCL other than trying to achieve something that may not even be possible in getting them to Europe and suffering at the consequences of that personally, and maybe be playing very good football. But the challenge, in my opinion, the way she's talking about it, is the NWSL. If she goes cross-continent, takes the big cash and delivers on all facets, which she can obviously do, then that is a new challenge. That is an amazing challenge.
That's too comfortable for her. And I think you look at, everybody looks at Europe as this massive thing for Alexia, whereas I mentioned it last week, the idea of being at the start of a project, I think, is what Alexia is most looking at. Look at the things that she does in Mexico, the projects that she starts for youth academies. She's obviously very interested.
I'd rather go to Mexico.
True, I would as well. That
would be amazing. Go play with some of the greats of football that are currently over there.
There is a recognition by Alexia, and I think it's a fair call, that she sees the WSL, whether we like it or not, she sees London City as not only a prosperous move, but a challenging move, a move where she can not only grow as a footballer, but even potentially more than that. I mean, we don't know what she wants to do post-career, and this could be a step towards that as well. And look, Michelle KANG, we might not like her, but her charisma, her charismatic nature, bringing in these players, it is
immense.
It's immense.
Yeah, I mean, again, a player that, like, I mean, you have Marta Terrayon, whose contract is expiring from the same club, but then also has extended. I don't know what the answer to this whole thing is. That, like, Marta Terrayon will retire. In my head, should retire at Barcelona. Yeah. I don't even think of it like, I think of it from the sense of that Alexia, if she was given the choice and Barcelona was an option to stay at until she retired, which, if financially capable, would be the option, correct? She would take that. She is cooler
is it the financial thing? Because she said at the start of the season that she was going anyway. I don't actually think it's financial.
No, but she did say that based on the fact that they still couldn't afford what she was offering. I don't think that she cares. I am assuming that is true, and I think that could be right, but I don't know how it plays in the sense of that. I don't see the others in that respective midfield of APA finding solace anywhere else. I do see them retiring at Barcelona.
I don't see, that's the difference. I don't. I see Aitana moving. She's, out of anyone really, I would have thought that she would be the one to go, because she has the most versatility outside of Spanish football. Patri, I can understand. She will be the next captain. If it's not Aitana, then it's Patri for Barcelona.
Oh, it is every time that LEXI comes off, it's Patri Patri is given the armband. But I don't know what the answer to it is. I'm still gonna watch Lorena wherever she goes. That doesn't bother me, and I still want to see the last ounces of her do the magic wherever she goes. I do think there are better projects than others in terms of what she wants. In terms of, I agree with you in the sense of that you're right in saying that trophy accumulation, it doesn't matter to Alexia. Like, she doesn't have to win in North or South. I still think it is nice to transcend continents and do that, and that is cool, because that is a hard thing to do. That, like, I don't know, Lucy Bronze is one of the 3 different clubs. That's cool. Imagine winning everything that you have to offer in respective continents. That's hard to do, right? To win the CONCACAF, to win the NWSL Shield, to win the NWSL Cup, to be the Player of the Year in the NWSL all in the same year. Just go for it and kill everyone off. Like, be more Chewinga than Chewinga already is. Like she has the ability to get even more PR than she already does. I mean, again,
you think she wants to live there?
No, she doesn't want to live in the States. But she wants to live in Bromley. Okay, congratulations.
London. You talked about it, wasn't
Yes, me? I did say London is a big city. I guess she wouldn't live in Bromley. She would not live there. She'd probably live in Whinging, like North London. She'd have a great time there. But it is cold, Lexi. It is cold there. It is hard. It is a harder place to live in than Spain.
The heat wave right now is like Michelle KANG.
You can't speak Catalan there. That's the key. But why did I learn Catalan if Lexi's leaving? But yes, we spoke about Marta. We then go to not the Spanish Shakira, but the other Shakira, Martinez. Did you ever think that you'd join Spurs? Holy fuck! What the fuck are you doing?
If she went to the NWSL, she could have done Hips Don't Lie.
Yeah, mate. Oh, well done. Well played. How did I not write that? That's so embarrassing for me. But Shakira Martinez magic. I mean, this is an interesting player with an interesting purple patch in her respective moments. Never forget 24, 25.
Yeah.
Shakira Martinez, the German girl, has arrived at North London, and I actually think for Tottenham, it's actually a very good signing.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you,
they don't have a player like this.
But don't they? I mean, look,
No.
I think that Spurs their biggest problem isn't the scoring. I think it's defending. But I mean, they do have Tandberg, they do have Holt, they do have Vinberg, they do have Gorpset.
Holt is in the 10. Holt is obviously in the 10.
Okay, but she has been playing. But she has been playing also a pseudo striker role. She scores goals.
Yeah, she won't play that pseudo striker role so long as Shakira is there as the sole 9 doing the things that she needs to do for them to be successful.
Do you think that they have the avenue to goal to fit Shakira Martinez? Because Martinez heavily relies on transition football, and Martin Ho has kind of diverted from that. He's trying to play more possession style football. He's actually trying to get his players more involved in build-up. And I think Shakira Martinez is a get if you want a great super sub. And if that's what her role is going to be, then that's fantastic. And it's a step up from West Ham, really, if we think about it. But I don't know if it's that big of a step up. And I think that, look, it might do well for her German career. Like she might get more time for Germany, something that really she's recently replaced Freigang in the German national team squad selection. So that move is one step towards maybe even securing that illustrious pop regen position.
True, and alongside Dijkstra as well, who's also going to Tottenham from VFL. I mean, they're pulling in signings. They're pulling in players that just do bolster. Yeah, but they're just bolstering little by little. I don't know how close they're getting to the United of it all, but that's how it works. Olga Artinen re-signed. Like, they have players. They have money. They I don't know. I feel like Hamano has been recalled, but I don't know if they're offering more or what they can offer her, considering how important, quote unquote, important she is to the Chelsea structure. But yeah, I mean, they're trying to get rid of the Buck and the Tam Buck. Like, there's no Beth England anymore. Charlie Grant's going as well. Like, they're making decisions that are ultimately in the benefit of them, in my opinion. But I don't know if West Ham are making decisions in the benefit of them when they're signing players like Katie Zellum from LCL. I don't know what I'm Streets won't forget the Zellum LCL career that lasted 3 months. Jesus Christ.
I'm so pro, because, to be honest, out of her and Alana Kennedy, the joint Angel City move, I would have expected Alana Kennedy to be the one to go to West Ham. I mean, Katie Zellum, first of all, she had that fantastic single game for West Ham where I believe they won, but I forgot what team they were playing. Was it Aston Villa? She had like a fantastic
West Ham?
game.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
It was that fantastic game where she played and did really well. But I don't know. I kind of love Katie Zellum. I don't know what it is. Ever since she left United, she's been on an absolute journeywoman tear. Like, so West Ham, she'll go to the dub next, right? Central Coast Mariners will stap her up or something. And then from there, she'll make like a crazy move.
Oh wait, the Zellum game. Are you talking about the Brighton game? Was it the Brighton?
Maybe,
game?
It might have been the Brighton. She's had a couple of.
I feel like she played that ball across the box to like it was Asai who scored in the 90th, and it was Uweki's assist, I believe. But there was some good magic in that 3-2 win. I think. I just love Katie Zellum. I don't know. But no, that's fair enough. And then she's going to be joined, and they also got a new goalkeeper, I believe. West Ham. They get Constance Picard from Fleury, and if you don't forget the magical Fleury run of 25-26 where they went how many games without a loss as well. So they have picked up a decent goalkeeper, I think, there. So hopefully that helps them. But then we can talk about the Liverpool contracts that have continued to hold up. So, I mean, just kidding. They're just not going to hold up at all in any way. It's kind of depressing that none of them have held up. I'm talking obviously about Falk, Shimizu, and Martha Thomas. I feel like Martha Thomas didn't really turn out the way I thought.
Well, it's injury. She started really well.
But she did start well, but I don't think she would have ever been in the team more than Olsen or Enderby or Banabe or.
I think she was a good option.
The way they were. No, she was a good option off the bench. I do agree, and I rate Martha Thomas.
Martha Thomas
Thomas. I do like Martha Thomas's Tottenham career. The streets won't forget her prime there. But Falk is a huge out, and Risa Shimizu is a huge out, considering the fact that this is just Gaz ball depression. Their backline was terrible at the start of the year, and then they brought in Falk, and Shimizu was on loan, and they finally put something together where they became a little bit of a force, and they were hard to beat and hard to break down. And now without Falk, I think there is a massive Falk-shaped hole in that backline that's going to cop a lot of goals.
One of the things I trust Liverpool now that I didn't necessarily trust before is their transfers. I feel like if they lose these players, I'm sure that they will recuperate, just given the fact that what they did in the mid-season transfer market, yes, they were loan players, and you'll hear the adage, never fall in love with a loan player, said by a million Liverpool fans everywhere. But it is true to say that, okay, so maybe they're not going to sign, the next WSL young player of the season like they did with Olivia Smith, but there is a possibility that they go and build a genuinely good mid-table side from either loan signings or picking either strays from big teams or reaching out a bit. It's Liverpool at the end of the day, right? Like it's a team that is mid-season. They do very well domestically in the cups.
Yeah, the Enderman of it all. I believe they also picked up someone else, or are rumored to pick up someone in the process. What's her name from Kern, I believe. Her name is Sarah Agrez, a centre half. So they are trying to pick up some stuff. And Enderby's, of course. Like they've got some good players. They will be in and around it, and I don't think they'll get relegated considering the new teams coming up ultimately. But I hope that they can. I mean, again, I still don't like their WOSO gradient. It's probably the worst of the lot. Not as bad as Inter Milan might be now, especially with what's happening. Geez, the great exodus. Tessa Vollert is gone. She is out of Milan, but she is only one of, how many is it? 3 who are leaving Inter Milan. It's a disgrace. Oh my God. To not have them for this Champions League run coming out. So it's Katie Bowen, Chisa, and Vollert. All 3 of them.
Katie Bowen. No.
Yeah, I know. Who am I going to make fun of next year when the Kiwi Messi is gone? Sorry, that's Rojas. The Kiwi, I don't know, the Kiwi Van Dyke is gone. It's very, very sad. I don't understand where Tessa will go.
33 years old.
Maybe Tessa goes to Liverpool. That could be
this is the Senna Gorsevic NWSL move. She's going to like a Seattle or
Strasbourg.
Oh yes, she went to the NWSL before Strasbourg. I just totally see it. And to be fair, right, this is a big loss for Inter Milan. This is 14 goals, 9 assists in this league campaign where they scored 49 goals, right? So she is like over a third of their goal contribution.
Oh, she's been a killer this season. Arguably, if Manu didn't get player of the season and Inter won, it would have been Vollert.
And I said that if Inter had started the way that that mid patch of form and kind of teetering off in the end, but basically from like game week 8 onwards, they would have given Roma a bigger competition because of the fact that they're scoring goals. They are losing now probably their biggest asset, but also the thing that holds their tactic together, which is scoring goals. They're losing that, and I don't know how they replace it. I don't know who comes to Inter to replace it.
No, I don't know what they're going to do. I hope they offer big money to someone because it just means that another Italian team's going to fail in Europe yet again. Yeah, I mean that's the end. They just couldn't tie up a contract for her, which is crazy. In comparison to the other side of the Italian rivals, Kansi left Juventus, set to leave, but he did leave. And the people that are linked, basically, if you've coached Spain or Barcelona, Juve want you. They could have gone back to Xavi Lorenz and Fran Sanchez, but the 2 that they were linked to, and one of them being Luis Cortez, who's currently managing the Saudi Arabian women's national team, which is wild. But the current number 1 prime candidate is Montse Tomei. Tomei baller. Look, great player in her own right. Manager, question mark.
Ask Alexia. Alexia.
Exactly. You know what I mean? They kind of just hounded her out. She was, I don't know if she was the scapegoat. We'll find out if she's the scapegoat with this season. No Europe, no expectation other than probably to win the league or win multiple cups. But look, if Juve hold on to the players that they have currently right now, Capetta, I reckon Monse Tomei is like, who is Rasmussen? That's funny that they'll be in the same world as each other. But yeah, an interesting pick, an interesting departure. That made sense. I wonder what would have happened if they won that final.
Won. Well, he wouldn't have had to do that really somber press conference afterwards, like blaming. It was the most self-deprecating crap I've ever heard. I blame myself. It's all myself. But you have to do it in like a thick Italian accent. It was terrible.
That's you. That's you.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry. You want me? I'll just go into my Max. No.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Italian Maxim.
Yeah, as I said, when we were talking about the Juve Roma game, it's not all on him, but a lot of it is on him, and he had to take the fall inevitably. I don't know what this means for Juve in general. Does this mean a real shake-up in transfers? They do need players. Does this mean that Leah Volti stays? That's my big question. Does Leah Volti
probably
you
not.
think so?
No, I said probably not. But
I think she says.
But depending on where she goes, that's like
him or her situation.
Him or her, this or that. It's always Leah Volti. It's always Leah Volti. Until she gets her Italian like citizenship. Basically, what a baller. Saved them many an occasion this season. But that is all we have for contracts, extensions, rumors, and retirements. As we move into what? No retirements this week. Still waiting. Still waiting. For, I mean, who am I waiting for? You know what? I said Becky Spencer. I'm waiting for Becky Spencer's retirement.
Who am I waiting for?
You know what? Yeah, I mean, you'll figure it out next week. You can do the next week's who are we rating. That's our whole thing. If there's no retirements, you're gonna say who you want to retire.
Courtney Vine.
that was way too quick for next episode. But that is all we have for the CERR segment. I mean, it's basically the Sam Kerr segment, but KERR. But that is all we have, and we will move into the Benchwarmers Awards. Never bench again. I have Clara motherfucking not Bull, not Mateo, Sarah Geordie. Sarah Geordie, look, Lexi is gone. And that is okay because Clara Sarah Geordie is here, ladies and gentlemen. This girl is a fucking animal, 18 years old. Performance took on heaps, took on Johannes, took on made Lily Johannes. Like, I don't know what she did in that final, but the back heel flicks here and then the adios to Lindsay heaps on a few occasions. Like, you're playing ahead of the best player in the world, according to most people. And Pera Mayu has said, you know what? No, Bonmati, you don't start. This girl is starting, and she showed why. She did the business. She proved everything that we've said about her, that they're training her this whole season to be what she is now, which is basically an 18-year-old with the talent to go all the way to be the next Spanish midfielder in the center. Like, this is the thing, the Paula Fernandezes, all those players who are established in the Liga F, they're great in Spain. This is the potential for Clara Sarah Geordie. Clara Sarah Geordie is part of that ilk of Vicky Lopez now, and Carla Julia will get there at that point. She's not there yet, but the Pina, the Kika, the new generation of Barca, where the midfield is held up by a player like Sarah Geordie who is learnt from the best, and is going to continuously improve until she is in her immaculate maturity and is looking for potentially Ballon d'Ors down the line.
Wow. I mean, I think Clara is probably the best name to quality ratio in women's football. There's three solidly good Claras.
Clara FC. FC. I mean,
just
that
three
is
players.
crazy.
That's it.
I mean, and we're not done. There might be a new Clara that comes through.
And it will
Clara
be
Regen, am I right? Yeah, there we go. I knew you were going to say that. But yes, who is your never bench again?
Mine is Rušek, Juve's goalkeeper against Roma.
Lol.
I mean, I can't stop talking about this Kanzi choice. Why do you pick the young who's had a horrendous couple of months? She's inconsistent. She's been inconsistent. She got injured. Rušek came in, did exceptionally well. I mentioned it when we talked about the game. I mean, she was the player of the match against Roma in their league game. Start her. She would have saved Giuliano's goal 1,000%. And this is not me glazing another Austrian keeper because I heard.
Yes, it is. It 100% 100% is. It is
a retirement. Manu
losing.
Zinsberger.
You're losing. Yeah, we didn't mention that in the retirements. Yes, we are not waiting for Manu to retire, but I said you're just trying to replace an Austrian goalie with an Austrian goal. Yes, you definitely want her as a third keeper for Arsenal.
I would take her as a third
would
keeper.
be great.
100%.
Exactly right.
She's too good
That's
for
my
third
point.
keeper. That's why I never wanted. And never been again.
She's better than Borba. No, she's not. Not yet. Not yet. I wouldn't go that far. But my super sub of the week. Look, it could have been Guerrero. I nearly had it as Guerrero, but I just wanted to give a shout out, some love to Thestrup. I think Thestrup was good. Came on for Charlton, did the nooks and crannies. 51 minutes of hard work off the bench, and I think we'll hear her name more next season. I think she'll be a player. She could potentially be the player who scores the first goal for Charlton next year. Who knows? But that was a great penalty. In the final, you come on as an attacker. Your one job. I mean, I know she came on earlier in the game, but if you come on, your job as an attacker is to score your penalty in a penalty shootout, and she was one of two players to do it for her team. So shout out to her.
Great shout. Mine is from a game that we didn't mention in the Liga F. This is from Madrid CFF's game against Granada. Ana Marcos scored 4 goals in 45 minutes to single-handedly complete the comeback from 3 goals down at halftime. This is exceptional. And it's not like a last...
bench. Off the bench. Are you psychopathic in half a game? Who are you?
Insane. Absolutely mental.
Holy crap. And I mean, look, she either blanks or goes God mode. I mean, she's only scored 6 goals this season, which is crazy. But she had 4 shots for the game. She scored with all 4 shots she took. That's mental. I mean, we probably should have talked about that mid content, but we're talking about it now because we don't miss this kind of stuff. But my come on the pod, by the way, Esme Morgan, you got saved this week. You were so close, and I love shitting on Esme Morgan. But
she's your ex-player, by the way.
I know, and look what she's become. This is what happened. She could have stayed. She could have been like AG treated. Like, look, AG started off at United, and look where she is now. See, she knew what to do. But we are making fun of not Esme this week because I make fun of Esme Morgan any day of the week. But it's the Srivardhana Prabha family that own Leicester. They own King Power International Group. They are responsible for everything going on at Leicester. The net worth that they own probably has more figures in it than Leicester's team has players. Like, it is an embarrassing institution in the sense of that they're probably responsible for that fan-voted Player of the Year nonsense that I mentioned last week. So it was supposed to be my come on the pod last week. So we're just going back to Leicester. Mouchon, what an L as a super sub. Very unsuper sub of the week. But Leicester just... their men's side going to League One, their women's side getting relegated, and the worst part, the icing on the cake, is that they're in the World Sevens tournament and winning. They won their first game against LCL in that stupid World Sevens tournament. Yeah, of course they get money for winning that.
That's how they're getting their money. That's how they're getting their money.
But it's we make a whole thing about we're not talking about this World Sevens tour. I don't care that Aggie Beaver Jones is doing stupid celebrations and all those Chelsea players, all those Chelsea players doing all those stupid like Fortnite emotes in front of their fans. Wow, woe is me football right now. Like, I'm not here for FIFA Street like WOSO edition. Like, I don't need a World Sevens tournament.
Just do it
exactly. Just do it on FIFA or whatever it was. I think it was 12 even, to be honest.
I got mine FIFA 14. I still play the straight game.
The straight game. Yeah, fair enough. But Leicester, my God, what an L of an institution. Like, an institutional failure on all codes of the game. And the fact that they couldn't even beat Charlton is an indictment on their ownership.
My come on the pod is take off from what Aitana said about choosing Norway and the UWCL Stadium for the Champions League final. It was a great Champions League, but I wanted to point out this fact, and I think that this goes to a larger problem in the women's game and accommodation versus growth and what we can do. So the stadium seats 27,000 people, and that is a 47.69% decrease in capacity to the Estadio Jose Alvarez.
Look at you doing math.
Which could hold 52,000 people, right?
Yes.
UWCL is the smallest stadium to hold a Women's Champions League since the 2021 final in Sweden. To contrast this with the men's game, which I don't do often, but I think it's important, Estadio de Graggio in Porto is the smallest stadium to host a men's Champions League game. That has a seating of 50,000 and served as the venue of the 2021 final between Chelsea and Manchester City.
That was during COVID as well. That was the reason for that one as well.
And the men's final has never been held in Norway. And I totally take your point, where we need to be helping exposure of the game and we need to be extending the reach of football to places outside of the typical like hotbeds of European football. But this is not 2021 anymore. The women deserve to be played in stadiums where they know that they can fill. Domestically, they're filling out 60, 70,000. The Champions League is the epitome not only of just European football, but football as a whole. Anyone would want to play in a Champions League final. To play it in a stadium that undercuts that and undercuts the real growth that the game has made really just goes to show that even though we may aspire to be like ahead and growing as a league and professionalizing and all these things, we still cater. And I don't like that. I think that we should be going for 80,000 seat stadiums, make it a challenge to get people in those seats and expose the game that way.
Oh, I mean, I don't even think it's a challenge. They 100% get the seats. I'm not going to argue ever about the prevalence of a Champions League final. People will go. People will turn up. If they did it at Wembley, 100%, 90,000. It's not hard. That's not the argument. The argument will never be about exposure or money. It's about ultimately the ingrained, I don't know, I feel like there is a part of Aitana, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, to be honest, because I've seen a lot of people online say, I can't believe my GOAT would say something that's a little bit short-sighted, in the sense of that there is a bit of ingrained microaggression to it. Like that Norway aren't worthy of hosting a Champions League final so long as they don't have the infrastructure to do it. And it's like,
but they don't. And that's okay to say.
But they do have legacy in a sport that has actually put in the time and effort into women's football. The amount of legacy that Norway has in women's football and what they've provided originally. I understand that the progression isn't always linear, and currently the WOSO growth is exponential, not linear. It is exponential growth. That's the reason why Aitana is complaining, is because there could be 90,000, but I don't want the final in Wembley every year. I don't want the final in the Camp Nou or like, I don't want it to be unfair. And I understand it doesn't have to be 90,000. It can be 50,000 or 60,000. But there are finals where it is less and there are finals where it is more. We get finals in Budapest. We get finals in Switzerland, in like it's not that long ago as well. Like
the problem. No,
but it's number. It's numerical. It's numerical.
It's the number of people.
Yeah, but if you have the biggest stadium in respective stadiums, like we might not see the Women's Champions League final in Turkey, but if you get the stadium at Galatasaray is 75,000. That's
why can't we put it in Turkey?
Than, yeah, but the point is that Norway bidded on that Champions League final. They received said Champions League final and put it in their biggest stadium, right? If other countries, if other countries want to bid on said events, they have the right to, and they can. They didn't, and ultimately Norway served what they could in actually what I thought was a very intimate venue, a very impressive display. I thought it's different. It's actually, I actually think making it about the number puts like a dent on ultimately where we can take football. Can we never have a World Cup final in a country that doesn't have a stadium that caters for that final?
No, because the men would never have that. They'd build stadiums. The women's game. No.
But I'm asking you, could we ever have a women's World Cup in Africa?
Yes, because
but only if they build a 90,000 stadium. Does it have to be 90,000, 50,000, 60,000?
Why not? Why not? Why don't?
Because what happens to that stadium after the event?
What happens to mostly every stadium with the men's World Cup? Like,
I agree. It's disgusting. It's vehement. It's horrible. But women's soccer isn't trying to be men's soccer. That's the point.
But in this respect, it needs to be. In this respect, it needs to be, because in this respect, this not only gets bums in seats, but it extends exposure in a way that doesn't nullify the actual impact that women's football is having. I'm not saying have it in England, Spain, and France every year. I'm saying have it in stadiums that accommodate the growth of the game. And that
that argument would be that, so the logical extension of your argument would be that Norway can currently never host a large major women's sporting event.
Because it never hosted a large men's sporting event for football. So it's
Interesting.
okay if
Okay.
it doesn't do it for the women, then they can't do it. And if they can't do it for the men, then they can't do it for the women. I think that's fair.
Okay. I mean, I think there is legacy in the fact of what Norway have done for football.
It's kind of like Leon, though. Like, where's legacy's gone?
What Tyreso did in the Champions League in the early 2000s,
incredible.
matters. Those things matter. The Potsdams, the Frankfurts, all that stuff. They like, as much as we can rescind the regressive nature of that football.
Done? That's next year. What's Poland done?
Poland. I mean, Poland bidded and Poland got it, right. And I think Warsaw Stadium is bigger. I think it is a 50,000 seat stadium anyway, so they will get a bigger predication to it. But I ultimately think this ostracizes certain sects of footballing community
that are already ostracized anyway.
No, that's fine. They're already ostracized, but let's try a little bit harder to not.
It's not on the women's game to do that, though.
Like, it just feels like a kill or be killed. It just feels like a kill or be killed. The way in which Aitana is saying is like, either build it and we will come, or you don't deserve us. And I think that's kind of rude. I think that's kind of harsh. Like, but it's the same argument. Football is a religion. It's an access. It's access for all. I understand it's a product and you can commodify it, but that money that they get isn't their money. It isn't that. She's complaining about the experience and the vibe and she isn't complaining about the monetary aspect of it. Absolutely not. Like, that's not. No,
I don't agree with a lot of the arguments where she made, like, oh, it's too far away. No, this is your sport. You go where the football is being held.
Yeah, exactly. Waffle.
That argument you just mentioned is the same argument as to why we call main stadiums men's stadiums, and the reason why a lot of a majority of the clubs do not allow their women's to play at main stadiums. It's the same argument. Accommodation.
No. But it's not. But it's also that theirs is all based on the economic bullshit of that they can't afford to run the game in their stadium. Try it and see what happens. But ultimately, there are clubs that can do it and there are clubs that can't. Like, we don't play every game at the Etihad, even though we probably would get more people in the stadium if we played our games at the Etihad, even though we wouldn't fill it out. But that's an economic argument that I never like. That isn't the point of arguing for that. Whereas I think there is, I don't know, maybe it is just a Luddite sentimentality from me, where I think your argument is very correct and progressive and passionate about the growth for women. But ultimately the sentimentality, something that, I don't know, I find it interesting that Aitana is saying that when her teammate is Caro, and the way Caro spoke in the lead up, in the build up to this final, about going back to her home nation for a tournament, like a little bit of respect for your teammate of 3 to 5 years who's given her all, who probably should have won one of your Ballon d'Ors, by the way, who is bawling her eyes out, talking about the fact that she dreamed as a child of playing a Champions League final in her home nation. But again, that's where the sentimentality versus the practicality or the genuine legacy of WOSO comes in, where 90,000 at Wembley for Spain versus the best of Spain versus the best of France does sound great. Great for many people, but I guess we could argue about this till the day is over. Like, it's an unbelievable conversation that we will do more of, this kind of footballing debate kind of vibe, when the season is fully done and City have won our double over Brighton. But that is all we have for a very educational Benchwarmers awards. I will say math heavy from Leggy. I don't know, the brain is working and the magic is about to start and end in a way, because the podcast is nearly over, but there's always time for one more segment. The what would KANG do? Number 38. I had so many names I could put in for this, KANG. It's only taken 38 episodes, but we're on for an absolute worldie here. So this could have been called the Holla KANG or the KANG cost. See what I did there? Because it costs to be KANG. But it could have been the Kangolan Uncivil War, the KANG Slaughter, the Yong Massacre, or the Mogrom. You've just been mogged. But I decided to call it the KANG genocide of a footballing project. Basically, it's very simple. The Kanglican Trinity that we've discussed many times before. Leon cooked in a UCL final in Norway. Spirit cooked by Club America in the CONCACAF final. And LCL, basically, regardless of their signings, and losing to Leicester in a World Sevens tournament, which I didn't mention in this, but UEFA basically said that UEFA is clearly the number one supporter of the Benchwarmers podcast, because they announced that no matter how good they get, no matter if they even become a direct rival of Barcelona, they will not play the UWCL, as they've confirmed that football clubs with the same owners will remain prohibited from playing together in the Women's Champions League. I mean, this is as bad as it gets. KANG has not had any moment in her entire life where all three of her trinity have just been battered across the course of this week. All right, I mean, I just had to ask you before I get into the segment.
Yeah.
What do you think of this KANG downfall, the KANG genocide? Is it luck? Is it chance? Is it a skill issue? What do we think after 38 KANGs?
Well, I feel like after 38 KANGs, a year of really dissecting KANG, her Lion trilogy is in the penthouse and she's in the concentration camp. Like, this is a real downfall for KANG. She's had a horrendous week. It looks like it's going to go from bad to worse if this UEFA,
especially with what you just said.
If this UEFA standing stands, I mean, she has her own problem with the men's side of Leon, now the women's side.
But I mean, it is crazy. But basically, I thought I should get some KANG scripture out. I know this isn't the KANG manifesto, but this is bigger than the KANG manifesto in a way. Like, she needs to go deeper than her own ideology to get her out of this. And I feel like this is like a bit of a religious smiting from the WOSO gods, the god of all religions, specifically soccer. Keep calm and listen to the words. I thought I would use a few lines from the Trinity of religions to help her gain her power to change the trajectory of her Kanglican Trinity. So, not to go all Russell Brand or Russell KANG here, but I'm going to whip out my Christianity Bible here.
You'll be able to mention
and say my favorite psalm. So Psalm 34:18 in the Bible promises that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in the spirit. In this case, spirit was crushed, and Lord KANG is the brokenhearted. But no offenses. But Katakoi had a lot more adversity, and she saved the coolest in Norway, seriously. So I don't think Christianity is the way for KANG this way. But then if I go to my own religion, Judaism urges believers to stop asking why and start asking what now. We focus on channeling frustration into doing good, alleviating the pain of others, engaging in tzedakah or charity, or as KANG calls it, loans, and performing mitzvot, mitzvot meaning good deeds, like Alana Kennedy. That's a good deed, I think. Are powerful ways to shift your focus outward and invite blessings back in your life. The sages of the Talmud, which is the Jewish Kanglican manifesto, basically Kanginist manifesto, suggests that God gives us weights we carry, not to slow us down, but much like a personal trainer, build our strength and resilience over time. So maybe that's all we're waiting for, is for KANG to develop, like, she's having the weights. She's felt the weight of what it means to suffer in this way. And now she's on the way out. She is on the way, like, it can't get any worse. So she's just going to build that strength and resilience over time. And that's fantastic. But if she adopts a little bit of Judaism, and then in Islam, the magical religion, there is no concept of luck or chance in Islam. So all of this is just a skill issue for KANG, right? And that's great for me. So feeling down or experiencing misfortune is viewed as a divine test, a method to seek forgiveness for past sins, or a means for spiritual growth. That makes sense, right? Her past sins and a means for spiritual growth. I mean, that's just going into her like ridiculous track record of being a part of some ridiculous organizations in ways that are very obvious. But believers are encouraged to pair patience, sabr, with tawakkul, trusting in Allah's overarching plan. Not Mo Salah, but Mo Allah. Knowing that hardship is always accompanied by relief. KANG, we believe in you. We believe that everything might stay the same, but you will come out on top. You will win. It doesn't matter if your teams don't win, you will win. And lastly, in the words of KANG's current minority partner in spirit's former rival, Michael Jordan, Michelle KANG, stop it. Get some help. It's okay. KANG therapy coming soon, by the way. I think that's probably the key to this, is that KANG does like some form of Fleabag where she actually ends up going to therapy and working out her 3 children who are causing immense problemos for her back pocket. But we all know KANG comes out on top. She's having a great time. She's buying cool dresses, not wearing them as much, but I would still shout out that amazing dress that was at the LCL game against City. That was Hunger Games-esque. But that, I think, is all we have for What Would KANG Do? And that is all we have for the Benchwarmers podcast this week. We are on Spotify and YouTube for our full audio-visual experiences, respectively. We are on Instagram for all our announcements, nibbles, stories, everything that we want to post to announce that we've got something to show, as we will have more stuff in future postseason that are different things that will go on that Instagram space. And then we have our TikTok, where you guys engage with us the most, because we post our short form content, our edited content, all there for you to see. We cover over 8 leagues. We cover all the international games. When we have international break, that's us. We cover every single game that we can, because we love WOSO and we're a part of WOSO and we'll always be a part of WOSO, so long as the benches are there for us to warm. And we look at it, we consume it not every second, not every minute, not every hour, not every day, but every week.
Every week?
Every week? Every week. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great week.